CBS News Bay Area, it's an emotional community vigil in Half Moon Bay to remember the 7 farm workers killed in Monday's mass shooting.
We have lost our neighbors. We have lost our workers. We've lost part of our heart.
Tensions rising across the nation after authorities in Memphis released gut-wrenching video in the deadly beating of Tyre Nichols by police.
How you doing? What's going on, man?
Also this evening, newly released video and 911 calls from the attack on Paul Pelosi. The new perspective on the vicious assault targeting the husband of the former House Speaker.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. We begin in Half Moon Bay, where the community came together this Friday night to process, heal, and honor the 7 lives taken in Monday's mushroom farm shootings. A vigil is underway right now, and our Kelsey Thorward is live there to bring us more. Kelsey.
Well, Juliet, the vigil is just about to wrap up. They're actually playing the closing song right now, but you can see how many people are still out here. This vigil started just after 5 o'clock tonight. It's going on 2 hours, and there are still a good amount of people out here. Now, tonight's vigil was really to focus on remembering the victims of the mass shooting that happened here earlier this week. We heard from all sorts of people, including family of the victims. We heard from several local leaders, city leaders, and interfaith leaders. Earlier in the night, we heard from the vice mayor. We also heard from one man who said he was the cousin of 2 of the people who were shot on Monday.
And he was a very likable person, friendly with all. One of his greatest qualities is that he liked to help people.
If we really care about the farm workers, show it. Show me. Don't tell me. We want solutions. A prayer helps our spirit. A comfortable bed helps our body.
And that really is the focus here tonight. You know, it's not just about grieving. It's also about looking forward to make sure something like this never happens again. We heard from the mayor earlier who says they're looking at different solutions for affordable housing in the area. But this really is, of course, just the first step in a long process of grieving, Juliet.
All right, Kelsey, we appreciate that. Thank you. Also, a California congressional delegation paid tribute to the victims of the mass shooting in Half Moon Bay. Representative Anna Eshoo read each of their names, followed by a moment of silence.
Zishan Liu, 73 years old. Axiang Zhang, 74 years old. Kishong Cheng, 66 years old. Jingzhi Liu, 64 years old. Marciano Martinez Jimenez, 50 years old. Yateo Bing, 43 years old. Jose Romero Perez, 38 years old. God rest them.
We've also learned the likely motive for the shootings, a dispute over a $100 equipment bill that the suspect didn't think he should have to pay. The San Mateo County DA confirming what Shunli Zhao said in an interview with NBC News. The forklift he was operating was hit by a coworker on a bulldozer, and Zhao was angry he got charged $100 for the damage. When he got back to confront his boss for a second time, he shot him and the coworker he blamed for the accident. You can stay with CBS News Bay Area for continuing coverage of all of the recent mass shootings, investigations, the vigils. Will bring you the latest on air and online. All right, now to another developing story. Just about 3 hours ago, officials in Memphis released videos of the deadly beating of 29-year-old Tyre Nichols by police. We are going to show you some clips, and we want to warn you, they are disturbing. Now, here is one angle from a surveillance camera. It shows officers repeatedly punching and kicking Nichols when he's on the ground. Nichols does not appear to fight back. He's later seen laying on the ground with no care being rendered for nearly 30 minutes.
Mom! Mom! Hey, give your hands.
At one point, Nichols can be heard screaming for his mother, whose home was 100 yards away from where he was beaten. This all happened on January 7th. Nichols died in the hospital 3 days later. Authorities say he was initially pulled over on suspicion of reckless driving. Officers quickly pulled Nichols out of his car and threw him to the ground. There was a brief scuffle while officers tried to handcuff him. He then ran off, but officers caught up to him, and that's when the beating occurred. The 5 officers were all part of an anti-violence unit called Scorpion, and they were fired a week ago, then subsequently arrested and charged with second-degree murder. Former judge and police auditor Ladoris Cordell told me tonight at 6 o'clock this case speaks to a rotten culture within some departments.
This is not about 5 or 8 bad apples. This is about a bad orchard. These officers wanted revenge after Mr. Nichols was able to run away from them. And when they caught him, they were basically, this was a beatdown by a bunch of thugs. And they did it with cameras on because the culture was such that they knew that they wouldn't be in trouble.
Family and friends have spent days reflecting and remembering Tyre's life. In fact, one close friend recounts the memories and moments of their early childhood years, growing up like brothers and skateboarding together.
The memories we have together, those golden moments, where you really kind of sort of take us like a big leap forward with a friend, you kind of see them in a new light.
Wilson also says he has high hopes for the future and has a lot of things to accomplish for his friend Tyre. Protesters in Memphis have shut down Interstate 55. Demonstrations broke out almost immediately after this video was released. This is just one of many protests that's happening across the city so far this evening, all demanding an end to police violence and accountability for Nichols' death. Tyre's family has asked everyone protesting to remain peaceful.
So we're not out here because of a video. But we are out here to demand justice.
I don't think it's enough just for the MPD to arrest them after the fact. There need to be systemic changes in place so that this doesn't happen again.
Protests are erupting across the country tonight as well. This is just 2 of the several demonstrations we've seen break out so far. But just as Nichols' family requested, the protests have remained peaceful. Also, a small demonstration broke out along Market Street in San Francisco earlier this evening, right outside the Powell Street BART station. Our Andrea Nakano is out there for us tonight talking with demonstrators, and she will join us live now with more on this. Andrea.
Juliet, yeah, the rally started at Powell and Market Street, where a group of about 50 people gathered to listen to speakers. Those people just came to the rally after watching that brutal video released by the Memphis Police Department. Then the protesters walked down Market Street several blocks, chanting "Justice for Tyre." They want the 5 officers responsible to be tried and convicted of murder. Those 5 officers have been fired and charged with second-degree murder so far. Now, the march started at Powell Market and went several blocks to the UN Plaza at Hyde and Fulton. There was a small rally at the end point before the crowd went home for the night. And as you can see live here, the protesters have left, but they vowed to make sure that they find justice for Tyre Nichols and all of the young men and women who have been killed due to police violence. Juliet.
Andrea, appreciate that. We can hope that everyone can heal and also have a peaceful evening. Thank you. Also tonight, we're getting our first look at police body camera video that captured the brutal hammer attack on Paul Pelosi. He's the husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Now, we've edited some of the video, but it is disturbing. This assault happened back in October at the Pelosi's Pacific Heights home. Surveillance video shows David DePape examining the back of the home before he smashes his way through a glass door. And moments later came the 911 call from Paul Pelosi.
This is San Francisco Police. Do you need help?
Oh, well, there's a gentleman here just waiting for my wife to come back. Nancy Pelosi. I don't know. What's that?
My name's David.
The name is David.
Okay, and who is David?
I don't know. What's that?
I'm a friend of theirs.
Several minutes later, 2 officers arrive at the home, knock on the door, and here's what happened next.
Hi. How you doing?
Oh, yeah.
What's going on, man?
Everything's good.
Hi. Drop the hammer.
Nope.
Hey.
What is going on right now?
I'm not getting an answer on call.
Oof. This body cam video ends with officers arresting DePape and calling for medical help. DePape's public defender blasted the video release, saying it's, quote, a terrible mistake that jeopardizes the possibility of a fair trial. The release was also opposed by the DA's office. All right, so here's where the case stands against David DePape. He has pleaded not guilty to 6 charges, including attempted murder and first-degree residential burglary. He's due back in court next month. DePape has also pleaded not guilty to federal charges. And for complete coverage of the attack on Paul Pelosi, including full transcripts of the 911 call, head to KPIX.com. All right, fans, fired up. The huge send-off for the 49ers as they head off to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. And they may live in Philly, but they're rooting for the Niners. You bet. We're going to hear from the proud grandparents of a Niner offensive tackle. It's a good one.